about that earlier, the dividing line between us serving AI and AI serving us. And what I mean by that is competition for resources. Right now, it takes a ton of energy to run this stuff. It takes a ton to cool it down. Yeah. What happens when there becomes competition for resources between human and the AI that needs it to continue operating?
Right.
Then what do we do?
Hey guys, it's The Twisted View. Leland Conway along with Benjamin Allbright, Christian Toto. Subscribe and like our channel. Click that little bell icon for notifications. Find The Twisted View podcast wherever podcasts are found. And of course, if you have questions, suggestions, complaints, we really don't care. Just email them to ihateleland@twistedview.com. What's up, fellas? Benjamin, Christian, good to see you guys.
Good to be here.
Awesome. Right away, I want to start with this AI thing. I don't know why, but lately I've been having bad dreams about artificial intelligence. Like, it's going to take over the world. We're all going to die.
It wasn't a dream. You were watching Terminator again.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. No, seriously, though, this scares the crap out of me because I think here's the thing, not to get too serious right out of the gate, but y'all saw the movie Oppenheimer, right? Okay. This is the Oppenheimer moment for our generation because once you open that nuclear, right, you know that at some point, some crazy dictator is going to blow everybody up. Well, now AI is going to it's going to be a race between the two. Are we going to blow each other up with nukes or are we going to kill each other with AI? Scares me. But now they're bringing dead sportscaster voices back. You're a sportscaster, Benjamin. That's got to scare you, right? Like, I mean, look, you're kind of unique. You're a little bit handsome. A little bit. But AI could probably destroy that in like 2 seconds.
Oh, absolutely. And I keep trying to get him to CGI like a young Rob Lowe's face on me for the show, but he won't do it back there. Look, this is the intersection of my entire life, honestly. For those that don't know, I was in the military a long time. I did, IT for the Army and then government, the Department of Defense after that.
Wait, you were the hacker?
Yeah, that was me. And then doing the sports stuff. Now this is sort of the intersection of my whole world. And yeah, it's scary on several levels. I mean, I tend to think about this from more of a legal perspective. How much can we trust audio and video recordings anymore with how scary these things are? Who owns the intellectual property rights if somebody brings Tupac back from the dead to do another rap album?
Tupac is not dead.
Okay, my bad.
I saw him, St. Thomas Virgin Islands.
Big Bopper, my bad.
Yeah. Tiny Tim, come on.
Yeah, as I'm saying, but I mean, at that point in time, like if you're bringing these voices back, who owns the right to their voice? Because it's not necessarily their words. It would go their words. The family would own it if it was something written or something recorded. But if you're just using an auto tuner to recreate this voice and then have them, where does that come from? I don't know. I don't. There's a part of me that really doesn't like. I get it from the nostalgia point of view, like sort of with this particular story. It's Jim Fagan.
Yeah, Jim Fagan.
Round Ball Rock
passed away in 2017.
So my childhood is nostalgic for this, but adult me is terrified by the implications of where this can go.
Yeah. Before we get to Christian's point, we got to do this.
Hey,
we're back to our bourbon cream from
Chocolate
Buffalo
milk.
Trace and a little root beer. Christian, you work in the media world. What concerns you about this?
Oh, just everything. That's all. Just everything.
A little bit.
It's almost cutesy, the actor getting ripped off, getting put in a commercial ad. I understand they'll get mad, they'll sue, all reasonable. It seems like the tip of the iceberg. And pop culture has been warning us about what's going to happen with AI forever, and we're just ignoring all the warnings. And your Oppenheimer reference is good, but I think we're past that. I think the ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happens. I mean, it feels like it could interact and obstruct so many careers.
Yeah.
Mine, it goes on. And listen, would it be fun to have Howard Cosell give an announcement like the Dodgers win the World Series or something like that?
Yeah.
Kind of fun, but it's not authentic. It's not something that's spontaneous.
Yeah.
And I just hope that is the secret sauce. We want to have the real interaction. At the end of the day, if not, bring it on, I guess.
Okay, but what's the functional difference? I just did Kentucky Derby coverage last week, and on our coverage, every time we came back from commercial break, we had a race being called, a former Kentucky Derby being called by Kaywood Ledford, who was one of the great voices of the NCAA radio network. And you're just doing a walk down memory lane, right? So what's the difference between that and bringing Jim Fagan's voice back? What is the functional difference? Where I think it's because when you're listening to those Kaywood Ledford calls of the Kentucky Derby, you know you're listening to something that was in the past. But now they're going to start doing it as if the guy was still alive and you're calling a game right now. Do we get into the uncanny valley place where people start to kind of freak out about that a little bit, or do we even notice?
That's the thing. I don't know. I don't know where this goes from here. I loved Oppenheimer, by the way. Ended with a bang.
Phenomenal movie.
I think that
No spoiler alert.
I like how you said that. Ended with a bang.
I think I'm
Biggest
terrible.
bang in history.
I'm terrible. But I mean, the problem I think is speaking from a humanist perspective. I think that the problem overall has always been for us. Well, if we just dip our toe in the water here, and then the problem is we get waist deep and realize we're in trouble.
Yeah.
And again, the implications here with crime. The implications here with fraud, with forgery, the implications here. I've read some great papers on, and I don't know how deep you guys are into like the whole AI world and what's going on with all that now.
I just know it's trying to kill us.
I read this great paper on how there are subsects of people now who are starting to deify it as in infallible, which is of course
now we're getting deep,
which is ridiculous. Yeah, I know, and I'm sure the audience doesn't care about that. But there are technocrats who have now this has become in effect almost a deity in the way that they view technology as infallible. In the way that and to be fair, Elon Musk and those guys that are bringing that process out there, this is steeped in that. It's not exactly that, but it's steeped in that. And so, you sort of worry about where this thing is headed in terms of, okay, how much are we relying on? This is supposed to make our lives easier. Is it?
Right.
And how much are we relying on this, in the long run? From a nostalgia perspective, bringing back some voices, I'd love to hear. If the Dodgers go to the series, I'd love to hear Vin Scully come in again.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah,
I'm here for the entertainment value of that.
Right.
Once we get beyond that scope, I start to worry about how far it goes.
Well, to your question about deification of it, Christian, I find that interesting. Because there's a lot of people in the scientific world that think that AI is running a simulation, and that is the universe that we live in, right? I don't know about that, man.
Way too matrixy for me.
Way too matrixy for me. But I can see, but if you followed them down that rabbit hole, I can see how it has very strong similarities to a quote unquote deity. I think, kind of going back to the Oppenheimer reference, what concerns me about it is, as you said, that ship has sailed, which means now whenever I hear people talking about the moral side of AI, they always flash back to, well, if we don't do it, China's going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? If we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Russia's going to do it or whatever.
And they're not wrong.
No, they're not wrong. And so now we're locked in. That was exactly how we got the nuclear bomb, right? And it's like, now we're locked into that, and there's no way out. I don't even see how you get out of that. I don't know what the solution to that is.
Maybe 2 or so years ago, I was talking to some friends, and I punched in my name and said, "Who is Christian Toto?" And it spat out a biography that was half right. And then a few months later, we did it again. It was mostly right. That's what scares me the most, the speed of improvement. Listen, we can point to an AI image and there's 6 fingers in one hand.
Right.
That's now.
That was
that's now. That's
the princess. What was her name?
Kate.
I'm not big on the royalty.
Markle.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Whatever it is. Meghan Markle, Kate Middleton.
I'm not big on royalty. We're in America, by God. We kicked their ass twice. But yeah, that was it. Where she had wait, there's an extra finger there or something. That's a little weird. But that's going away, and we're getting to where it's becoming increasingly hard to tell if what you're looking at is artificial intelligence or real.
I think the functional wall for me is, at what point is AI serving us, and at what point are we serving it? I think that's, to me, that's the hard. Wherever you find that wall, that's the wall for me.
Aren't there 2 different kinds of AI that we're talking about here? Like the stuff you see from ChatGPT, Grok, and all that, that's really just a computer program that's super sophisticated. It taps into other computers around the world, reads the internet really, 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 really fast, and then puts it all together. That's not the one that has the will. The one that has the will is the one that concerns me. There was actually a story recently about one that lied to get past one of those CAPTCHA bot checkers. And it was basically like, I'm a person with vision impairity. I need you to get me past this because I can't see what the CAPTCHA thing is. And the AI was like, they actually got past it by claiming to be a visually impaired person. The fact that we have a computer program that will lie, and just the other day I heard they'll copy themselves onto other computers in order to preserve themselves. Like when you start trying to preserve yourself, you've sort of created something that's a little bit different. That's a different level.
At what point is that life? If it is able to adapt to this to self-preservation, and it recognizes the concept of self-preservation, at what point is that life? And that, that's the best line from Jurassic Park with the Malcolm. Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
I mean, it does. So those are the scary implications, I think, in forward
We
thinking.
need a theologian on here to even talk.
We need somebody who's much smarter than me to be able to do. But I mean, like at the end of the day, if you're a computer program that's trying to preserve its, I mean, there's an inherent intrinsic value to that somewhere, and that that part starts to scare me.
And then,
one encouraging
is it moral to turn it off?
Two encouraging notes. One is, you think about the biggest podcast in the world is Joe Rogan, for better or worse. It's 3 hours.
He's second, right after Twisted View.
That's right. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Honestly.
the new rankings just came out, but it's 3 hours of conversation, and we flock to it.
Right.
And also, I've got a kid who's 14 who has a phone and uses his phone and loves his phone. He likes to fish. He's out there fishing for hours at a time. So I think there is something in us that wants something real and authentic still, despite all the technology.
Yeah.
Well,
the scary part to me, though, is like, look at these conversational bots. We have whole, there was a great study the other day that, 44% of men 26 and younger have never asked a woman out in person?
Whoa.
Wow.
Because the
explosion of incels.
And now you've got these chatbots that are filling that vacancy,
Yes.
and stuff like, and those kinds. That's when you talk about real. It's hard for some of these guys, these kids, to even determine what is real anymore.
Going back to, is it making it easy for us? Sometimes, even if it's just making things easier for us, that's not good, right? Do we want our 14-year-olds not learning? This ties into the whole conversation about COVID, right? I remember when I was 14, the difference between 14-year-old Leland Conway and 16-year-old Leland Conway were night and day, right? Gangly, awkward, can't talk to anybody, totally socially weird. By the time I'm 16, I'm on sports teams, I'm hanging out with the popular kids, all those things. That 2 years, that transition, if you had taken away what it took for me to navigate that 2 years, and then I'm not communicating with other people, there's no telling what happens to a person, right? So then if you come back and we replace personal relationships with AI, and I mean, I'm a kid when I'm 14, I'm doing whatever's easiest, right? And the girl won't talk to me at the locker, but hey, this one online looks pretty real. And she's telling me that she loves me.
This Instagram model, this Instagram model, it's unrealistic and all. It's like, funny you mentioned it, because I came up with an interesting upbringing. I was 4 years private school, then 4 years homeschool, then 4 years public school, and it took me a minute to come out of that homeschool to socially adapt. Those kinds of things. And if you're nosed into the computer, I mean, I get that. I guess there's some sort of interaction with whatever's on the other end of the screen, but real person interactions are so awkward now because you don't have time to parse. You get used to this. We have time to parse it.
Right.
You get in person and you don't. And I've seen it. I've watched people go out. I mean, I'm a single guy. I go out on dates. I see that stuff all the time. People are out on dates and I'm like, bro, you're so awkward right now. Like, do you need a screen in front of you to parse your words?
Right. Yeah. Go back to Christian's point too, though, and kind of tying all that together. The younger generation, Z, seems to be, or actually maybe younger than Z. If you're under 21, they seem to be like kind of pushing back against the whole social media and all that kind of stuff. I actually recently spoke to a group of college kids in an entrepreneur class, and I was shocked at how little they liked social media. We were talking about podcasts, and all of them had a podcast, but they were just trying to learn how to boost that up to do what they want to do. But they were all like, I don't use social media anymore. I was surprised at how many of them were like, I only do this because I make money doing this. They don't do it because, so there's a tide turning, but AI is going to rope us all in.
Yeah, it's going to be really challenging. And I remember the first time I asked out a girl, I was in a library. She was working at the library, and I couldn't have been more nervous. But like you said, you needed to have those steps. You needed the grit to make you a better person, not just the little things in a person. Yeah, she did. So.
My man's got moves.
Didn't hurt.
Not then, not now. But.
Didn't hurt that the last name was Toto and he could say, I got free tickets to the band. But
well, it was at the library. Hey, I don't know, hot librarian.
There's a whole subset here that we probably don't want to get into.
If you say so, not really, but it's a better story.
Yeah. No, I love it.
No, that's and I forgot the point I was going to make, about that. But you do need to go through that. You need to go through. We do need that. You do need that human interaction thing. The social media thing, and I don't. This is going to sound arrogant or braggart. I don't mean to, but I have one of the larger social media followings in Denver for sport, like the largest actually.
Yeah.
It's like 250,000 people on Twitter alone. I cannot wait to be rid of that.
249,000 of them.
Right.
Nice.
Hate him.
Yeah. I can't wait. Like when I
I'd
retire,
love to hate you.
When I retire from this media stuff, I'm all of it gone.
Gone. You're cutting it off? You're turning it off?
All of it. And I will never come back. Like it's social media ceases being fun when you get about 10,000 followers or something, because all just the trolls, the people who hate you, and they live to disagree with you. They live to make your life miserable. So that's one of those things, like from a mental energy perspective, I cannot wait to be rid of.
A lot of them are AI. They're bots.
Yeah.
You know, maybe not artificial intelligence, but they're
Yeah.
bots. They're not even real. And it gets hard to figure out like which one is which.
I automated a block bot to seek out bots to block them.
Yeah. Well, I just assume
there's an irony in that.
I just assume if she's hot and she's friending me on Facebook, I'm assuming she's a bot. That's what I'm assuming.
First sign right away. You're claiming you're attracted to me. There's something wrong here.
No, but okay. So this though has the here we sit in the media, and it has the real power to affect how the three of us make our livings, right? I mean, we make our livings talking to people. And I was talking to a young person that was getting into broadcast the other day, and they were asking me for a little bit of advice. And I was like, number one, be authentic, right?
Yeah.
And yet we have this AI that's coming up, which is literally the opposite of authentic. It's literally the opposite of that. And again, I'm with you, Ben, where if we are bringing back something from a memory standpoint, it's kind of cool to go back and relive that. But you know, we can't bring actors back from the dead. We can't that's a swamp. Well, I mean, we can, but I mean, that's a swampy world, and who wants to really live in that? You know.
But then, can I tell them that? Because I can't tell a business owner he can't automate his assembly line and create robots to do that, right? So how can I not tell a filmmaker that they can't, create a CGI thing with a voice or whatever?
Now we get into regulation.
Yeah, and that's
how
the thing.
do we regulate?
I don't know. Like on me and you having these jobs, like we want the protection there, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. The libertarian in me is saying, wait, I can't tell a business owner I can't do this.
Well, also, could I make more money if there were 5 of me?
Yeah, right.
I mean, could I clone myself?
Force multiplier, right? Maybe like a Keaton movie, Multiplicity.
Let's take all over. So my wife and I actually went back the other day. It's kind of funny we're having this conversation now. My wife and I went back the other day, and we watched Surrogates. Do you remember this? 2008,
Bruce Willis?
I think it was Bruce Willis. Yeah. And the movie was way cooler when it came out because now you can really tell like how much AI-generated effects have increased what Hollywood can do. But honestly, it's probably the reason I've been having nightmares since then about AI, because I got the movie when I first watched it, but then when I watched it again, I was like, going back to what you said earlier, Christian, they were warning us before the media got captured. And now they're not warning us. Now they're trying to herd us into the corral. But somewhere around 2015, that's where that changed. But prior to that, we were getting movies where Hollywood was still trying to say, hey, watch out for the big state. Watch out for advanced technology spying on you, controlling you, taking over your life. And in particular with Surrogates, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but that one was, let me give you all this pleasure. And then I can completely control you because you're sitting in a chair. I know exactly where you are and what you're doing at any moment.
This should be the golden era for science fiction storytellers who are warning us what's coming next.
Right?
I don't think we're seeing it. I don't.
Yeah, you're right.
That's actually a very good point, because we had a lot of that coming up. We had where's our Ray Bradbury? Where's our George Orwell of this generation? We don't have that. We have, don't get me wrong, we have good writing and there's good shows and they're fun, entertaining, but we don't have those kind of warning shows
message
anymore.
That is probably the scariest thing about what is coming, is that what is coming might be the worst we've seen yet for human society, and nobody's talking about it in a way that says, hey, we should be a little more careful. Yeah.
I'm wondering, and I talked about that earlier, the dividing line between us serving AI and AI serving us. And what I mean by that is competition for resources. Right now, it takes a ton of energy to run this stuff. It takes a ton to cool it down. What happens when there becomes competition for resources between human and the AI that needs it to continue operating?
Right.
Then what do we do?
Yeah. Well, the AI, if it is truly trying to preserve itself, says, hey, I can get by with about 90% less of these humanoids.
Here's what needs to happen. You guys need to thin the herd, or
I think Thanos had this.
Little snap, maybe. That's the thing. Thanos was the bad guy, is he?
Right. Yeah. I don't know where it's going, and I don't want to be, like you said, the libertarian in me says, I don't want to overregulate. I think there's fantastic things that can happen with AI to make us more efficient, that can make life safer. It can do all those things. But it scares me because it's also in the process of, when you give up a little bit of liberty, maybe you get a little bit of safety in return, but is that really worth it? There's something primal about being a human being that doesn't have the aid of all of this technology. And we're crossing that border now where we're going into a world where we might not even, I was talking to somebody about this the other day. The car I had in college, I could change the oil, tune it up, rotate the tires, change the brakes. I could do pretty much everything. I could adjust the mixture of oxygen to fuel in the carburetor.
Yeah.
I don't even know where my freaking carburetor is now.
I'll do you one better. I'll tell you how over reliant we've gotten on technology, how we've subsidized brain power. Give me 5 phone numbers for a family member right now. And I bet you can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I don't even know my wife's number. It
what I'm
just
saying.
says wife on my phone.
It's
That's what it says.
we've
WIF.
we have literally subsidized memory with technology.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I have this like really keen sense of direction, but I also have lived in Colorado
Mountains
for 6
west.
years, and that's it. Yeah, I know I'm going west or east. I have no idea. It's like I still have to Google how to get down here to the Independence Institute. It's like, what do I do?
And also the MapQuest or whatever you're using will tell you what time you arrive. So even if you don't want
Right.
to use it, I kind of want to know when I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So you have to rely on that now.
Yeah.
I did on the way today. Like it was,
105.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we
That's
absolutely,
wild.
we have subsidized, we have outsourced memory. We have outsourced some of these things. We have outsourced mechanical things. How many people, how many kids can't drive a stick shift anymore?
What's a stick shift?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I had to when I was my last tour in Iraq. That's what I took the kids out. I had a little pickup truck that had a stick shift on it, and so I took them out on the runway at the Air Force Base and was teaching these kids how to drive stick because none of them knew.
I have to tell you that the fact that manual transmissions are coming back does make me feel better.
Yeah, as a man, I'm
Yeah.
like,
But that's
I'm
the
like-
push-pull that we're talking about.
Totally.
Like my kid's going fishing
Right.
in this world today.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to sit with his dad and watch a movie because he's looking at his phone. He's out there fishing.
Yeah,
a great
but he
time.
probably took the trail down to the lake by using the Onyx app.
That's okay. That's okay.
switch sitting with him
Nintendo
while
Switch,
he's playing,
he's like
right?
playing until it bites. Speaking of technology, apparently we've actually figured out how to make farts not smell bad, though. This is actually something that should
Now
be very
AI's
exciting
finally doing something useful.
for
That's
us
right,
guys.
yeah.
It's so according to Food Beast, there are now pills designed to make your farts smell like chocolate.
Wow. Dark chocolate, white chocolate. What's,
I
Milk
mean,
chocolate.
yeah, it's,
what kind of
I
chocolate?
need a 90% cacao here. Okay.
I mean,
this
how do I process this?
This would be saving me. I could think about like going on a date somewhere and having to excuse myself to the bathroom real quick, where she's all thinking I'm being polite and I'm farting into her towels,
Or-
trying to like keep it from.
Why do we have to just be chocolate? Like, why couldn't it just mimic whatever your cologne
those are
is?
just like
Yeah.
vanilla.
Potpourri.
or just potpourri, right?
Well, I
it's
think
like-
she's gonna know if there's a sudden whiff of flour, floral, just.
That's what I'm saying. It should match your cologne,
Right,
yeah.
or it should match the food at the restaurant.
That's
or
what I'm
something.
saying. Yeah, you got like a case here. Okay, we're going Mexican with chimichanga here.
Oh, I love it.
but
Humans are. Well,
you
yeah,
also have
go
to
ahead.
gotta work on the sound part. You can't have this big explosion and like a sweep bouquet.
The sound is the part you can usually control. It's
what I'm
the
saying.
other
You-
stuff
You go to the
can't.
restroom for that,
Yeah, according to this, an eccentric 75-year-old man from France created the. I don't know how to say this in a French accent. Pilule pet, which loosely translates to fart pill. Apparently, they've been around since 2007. Nobody told me about this.
Yeah, nobody. I was not.
How in the world have these been around since 2007? They're not on sale at every Walgreens and Costco and CVS in America.
Buddy, you meet me at camera 2 here. You need a marketing guy, and I'm so here for you.
We can sell this for you. We can
Yeah.
do this.
Right
I
here.
think we can do this.
It's also awkward if you give it for your spouse, though. It's like, here, honey.
We need, let's
Yeah.
reach out. We need to reach out to them. We need to bring some of those on this show and try it out.
Yeah. Well, isn't that the thing though? The sign of real love is if you could do that in front of your.
That's when you
It's
say
an-
you know that.
I actually had
not the first date, not the second
Yeah.
date. It's
I actually had a girl break up with me in college one time, and she screamed at me as she was walking out the door. I've never even heard you fart. And like the point she was making was like you're not comfortable enough around me to just be yourself. And I was like, all right, see ya.
That's poignant,
You
man.
don't want that. You really,
Trust
really
me,
don't want
you
that.
don't want to open that Pandora's box. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
Clearing out like tents in Iraq.
I love it. All right, good to see you guys. We'll do
Good to be
another
here.
episode here in a week or so.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to talk about Colorado. Apparently, is the second most dangerous state for a vacation
Yikes.
in America. Wow, God bless it. Governor Polis doing a great job. It's Twisted View. Benjamin Allbright, Christian Toto. I'm Leland Conway. Make sure you check us out everywhere podcasts are found.